It's time to soothe, groove, and move those hidden innuendos. Hello, and welcome to the program. But I'm excited to have you here. I think you are my first Kansas City guest.
That wouldn't surprise me. Not a lot of Kansas people are put themselves out there that much. So, I can understand why I could be your first.
Well, I'm glad you are, and hopefully won't be my last.
Yeah, hopefully someone else will tell you what it's like here.
Yeah, but Merinda, it's great to finally meet you. I know we were talking back and forth on TikTok and all that, but I'm glad to have you here. And I always raise a toast to my guests for coming. Excuse me, got something in my throat here. I did write a toast for you. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Okay. If I can read my handwriting. So here is to you, my dear, to the Chiefs' #1 fan. Here's to finding that guy that you can watch games with from here on out. And then here's the big kicker to you, is that if you happen to come across one of your friends that happens to date a guy that you dated, just let him off the hook, because I guarantee you, there's a good guy coming your way. I promise you that.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Cheers.
I actually did go on a date last night, and I'll tell you about this real quick. And I was telling her about you last night.
Oh, really?
I was telling her about how you're going to come on. And then I mentioned that because we talked a little bit about Kansas City, how it's a small town, and how you told me that Kansas City is the #1 worst dating spot in the nation, or are we talking like in the whole entire world?
I don't know about world, but definitely in the nation. And if I remember correctly, it's been like this for like 10 years. And if I believe Missouri is either #2 or #3, because Kansas and Missouri are obviously right next to each other, and
right.
It's definitely a different beast. And everyone that I speak to is having the same challenges. And it's definitely harder for women here than it is for men, because I know several men who, get on the dating apps, they find a girl and you're engaged or getting married. And so many of my girlfriends are still single, and it just doesn't make sense, because there's a lot of good girls here. I mean, Kansas is, a place where we're family oriented. We like to have a good time, but we're good, wholesome people. And it just doesn't make sense to me why so many good women are unattached or having such a difficult time, connecting with someone and meeting someone who has passion and honesty and loyalty and all the things. So,
I don't either.
It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense.
Get that. Yeah. Like maybe I should go to Kansas and talk to these men and say, guys, what the hell are you doing?
We've actually thought about like starting some sort of class teaching men how to date, because it's even as little things as opening a door or making a reservation. I just had a girlfriend last week who she got all dolled up, and she was excited because she was going to a really nice restaurant, and they got there and the gentleman did not make a reservation. It was for Saturday night. And it's just one of those no-brainers that, like, why don't men know? Like,
was this a first date?
You need to make a reservation. I mean, that's as simple as it gets.
Yeah, no, 100%. Was this a first date, or was this
for her? Yes.
Date? For her, okay. Is there going to be a second one with him?
No.
No, because of the bad manners.
Not just because of that. I mean, it just kind of went downhill from there. But she was really disappointed. She had never been in this restaurant before, and I told her, "Hey, it's a nice restaurant, so you're going to need to like dress up a little bit." And she was really excited. And they get there, and they obviously didn't have a reservation, so it was disappointing.
I get you. And here's my take, though. Like I was saying, like last night I went on a date with this girl, and I'm not a big fan of dinner dates, just so you know. Not until we are actually like together. Like once you and I are exclusive, then dinner it is, no problem.
Interesting, because
I know I'm just weird like that. I'm just a fucking weirdo. That's okay.
Right. Kansas is different. A woman, like, people offer to take me on coffee dates, and it feels like an interview for me. I've never had a coffee date go well. And so I typically decline those because they just don't work out for me. It's a waste of time. I'm okay with like, hey, let's get drinks and see what happens. But typically in Kansas, a woman wants to be fed.
That's fine. Like I'm all about that.
Right.
But then again, for me, I just have different limits. But last night I just happened to cave in because I went on the coffee date. Like I think last night, and this girl that I I don't know if you want to call her dating, but dating, whatever it is that we're doing right now. We went on a coffee date. That was our first coffee date because she doesn't drink. So I'm like, all right, we'll just do coffee. And again, like you kind of have to set boundaries and set different types of dating scenarios for people who don't drink. And it's hard. So I get that. I respect that. And then last night she's like, can you do dinner with me? I said, okay. I caved in. We had dinner and I just, for some reason, I just feel so uncomfortable eating, especially when I'm not dating you. Because I don't like, this is like my habit is I just don't like watching people eat. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves.
Oh, interesting. I've never heard that before.
Like I said, I'm a weirdo.
Yeah. Yeah. I think here in Kansas, we would take it as not wanting to invest in us. You know, women put a lot of energy into the way that we look and what we wear. And, you know, it's like taking or making the investment, you know, taking us out, getting to know us. We also want to see how a gentleman's going to, you know, treat the staff, treat the bill, you know, just there's a lot that goes into that. And so here we like to know that a man's invested in it as much as we are.
So do you think that if a man is not invested in you, he doesn't want to take you out to dinner? Is that what you think?
I don't know about that. It kind of it can make it feel like that if he's doing a coffee date, that it's just, you know, he doesn't want to make an investment in it. And maybe I'm using the wrong terminology, but I want someone that I'm getting to know to want to do more than just a coffee date. Sure. I don't know. It just doesn't feel intimate enough for me. And that someone's putting in the effort.
Okay. Lay it on me though. Lay it on me right now. Like, what is your ideal perfect first date right now? Like, tell me, like, truthfully.
First date, honestly, I would just take it. It's not necessarily what we do. Like, I don't care if we go to, I don't want to go to McDonald's, obviously.
Of course.
But, you know, and I don't need to go to a 5-star restaurant either. I just want someone who's going to, you know, maybe make a reservation, make the plan, who's going to show up and who, you know, puts a little bit of effort into the way that they're looking as well. Because when I go out and I'm going to look like the best that I can every time I go. So I just want someone that's going to put a little bit of effort in that. And then really it comes down to the chemistry, right? I can connect with someone on a dating app or on the phone, but until you meet someone and you really don't know if the chemistry is going to be there or if they're going to look like their photos, you know, something like that. But it's really just about putting in the effort and making that reservation and that plan and, you know, maybe checking in beforehand to confirm that date. I know that always makes women feel a little bit more comfortable. Like, is he actually going to show up or is he going to stand me up or whatnot? So confirming that date ahead of time.
Are you getting that a lot though? Are you getting a lot of men standing you up?
I don't know about a lot. I just got back on the dating apps about 6 weeks ago and I've been on 4 or 5 dates. And one guy in particular stood me up 2 Saturdays in a row. And when I say stood up, I mean like cancels plans last minute. I didn't actually show up at the restaurant and they never showed up, but it's just canceling like last minute.
So he canceled on you twice.
Mm-hmm.
So whose fault is that?
Well, the first time he did get stuck at work and he proved to me that he was still at work. So I kind of gave him a little bit of grace with that. How did
he prove to you? Did he like FaceTime you or did you bring you to his office?
No, he FaceTimed me. Yeah.
Okay.
And he like sent me this really long message apologizing and begging for a second date or a second chance. And so I was like, okay, I can do that. You know, the fact that just to be upfront, I did not ask him to prove it to me. Sure. He was willing to do that on his own. And then we did go.
Don't you? I think that's pretty admirable. I respect the hell out of him for doing that because he wanted to prove to you, like, I am not lying. I'm not full of shit. Like,
sure, I'm actually absolutely. And that's why I wasn't that upset because, you know, work is work. You know, you can't control things. So he was at work and he had a big job and he wasn't able to leave it. And I understand that. We did go on a first date the Monday after that and it was okay. And I was willing to give him another shot, go on a second date. And then he blew it for sure.
He blew it. Okay. I was gonna use the old shame on you trick, but that's not your fault.
Yeah, that wasn't my fault. I've definitely done things in the past where I've given people second chances that didn't deserve it. But I thought this guy deserved it. But he proved me wrong.
But don't you think though everyone deserves, whether or not it's either your fault or their fault on the first attempt, I think second chances should be given to everyone because I don't know, you tell me, the first dates, like you said, men don't know how to treat a woman because maybe just haven't gotten enough dates.
Sure.
They just don't remember the etiquette of taking a woman out because 2020 fucked everyone over. So men forgot that. And again, I think it can be easily exercised, just like riding a bicycle again. Is once you get back on there, you'll start to remember exactly how to treat a woman. You hope that's the case. Right? So I think you got to give some people benefit of the doubt on the first date. And then I would definitely say, all right, this was not the best run. But again, I think there may be some potential in you or in me and us.
Right.
So do you feel like maybe like people should start to say, hey, just so you know, the first date, yeah, there's going to be some jitters, going to be some nerves. May say something wrong. I may do something I may not like. But what do you say we give it at least 2 shots to see if we can tolerate each other on the second try?
Yeah, I'm trying to do more of that. I've been told in the past I'm too picky. My expectations are too high. And so I'm trying to be a little bit more open-minded. So that's why I was giving this guy more chances. And, the first date was fine. Like we had a good time. He hugged me. Like it was fine. We had a good conversation.
What was it about him that you were intrigued about him? Just out of curiosity.
Sorry?
What was it about him on the profile? Do you saw him on like a dating profile?
Yeah, we met on a dating app. Yeah.
Okay. Like, what was it about him that made you say yes? Like, I want to meet this guy.
We had talked on the phone too, and we had connected on the phone. Yeah. And he did have, a pretty nice job, and he seemed very secure. He had been divorced for a while. He had 3 grown sons that were successful. And so I feel like someone who's successful in life and in family is someone I'd like to get to know and get to know better.
Yeah. Okay. Just curious. Again, I always ask because I just wonder, like, is it height that people look at, the women look at first? Is it like the smile? Is it like 6-pack abs? Because again, like, I'm just curious to know, like, what is it about one guy's profile that makes you want to date this guy compared to the other?
About his profile, he was tall, I'm not going to lie, but I'm 5'11", and so I am on the taller side. That's not necessarily a deal breaker for me, but I don't typically date someone under 5'10".
Yeah.
But there's multiple reasons for that. Usually men who are shorter than me are insecure and they don't do well. They've asked me not to wear heels. It makes them uncomfortable.
No kidding.
And I'm not a little woman either. Like I'm not itty bitty, teeny tiny woman. So I want a man to make me feel feminine. And so I do need someone who's a little bit of a bigger structure so that I can be in my feminine and feel sexy. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I actually, last night, the girl I did go out with, she was slightly taller than me, which is fine. I'm not complaining. I don't mind. I prefer that.
Right.
But she was wearing high heels and she was a lot taller. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I was comfortable though. I had no problem with it. Like I'm very, very confident, and I'm only 5'10". I'm not like short, but I'm not tall.
Sure.
But I felt very confident because I've dated women who are taller than me. Right. So it's okay. And I don't think she felt uncomfortable by it.
I do try and be conscious of it, especially on a first date, what his height is. And that will determine on what size heel I wear. I'm not going to meet someone who's the same height as me and then wear 3-inch heels. I'm not trying to... I think there's nothing wrong with it if someone wanted to do that, but, I want to make him feel comfortable too at the beginning.
Oh, but like most men should feel confident though. Like if
they don't,
if you were dating a guy after 3 months and he's like, honey, like I know that I'm an inch shorter than you, but please, by all means, wear the heels. Like I have no care in the world. Like I would love for you to do that. I think actually it shows like this, like really cool confidence in a man. So I want to ask this because again, I'm going back on the date here with this girl. We had a good dinner, we had a good time, but there was some good conversation. But I felt like the conversations were getting really dull, and I'm like, what the fuck? I was just trying to find out ways of like asking her some challenging questions, because again, I am not a surface type of question, like what's your favorite color, what types of trips do I take, all that. I just hate that shit. Like I want to know, like, what was the cause of your divorce, like what makes you like single, like what were you looking for, and again, like I want to know exactly in detail like what you want and what you don't want. Like I want to challenge you.
Right.
And I felt like I wasn't getting the bite that I wanted. And so after the date, I held her hand and walked her to a car, and I wasn't expecting anything at all.
Sure.
Nor should any man ever feel that way.
Right.
And I gave her a hug, and then like I just, for some reason, part of me just after that day said, I just can't do it. I don't think it's. I gave it an attempt. I gave it 2 dates, and that was it. But nothing really changed from the coffee date to the dinner date. So
and how did she handle that? How did she handle that? I would love for someone to do that. Ghosting is something that I find to be so disrespectful, as long as the other person wasn't disrespectful to begin with, right?
Yeah.
But like for you to do that, I think that's so respectful for you to do that. How did she handle that? Did she accept it? Was she open to it?
Oh, well, I haven't told her yet. I haven't told her that I'm not interested, but when I was walking back to my car, I was like, what does the heart really say to you? Like for me, obviously it told me that she's not the one, and that's okay.
Right.
And I think people need to start saying that. They need to ask themselves that question, is truthfully, like, can you see yourself with this person?
Right.
And like, I answered this truthfully last night. Like, I can't.
Right.
I really can't. Her schedules don't conflict with mine. The conversations were dull. I just felt like I gave it everything I could. And
sure, that chemistry wasn't there. And is there any way she wasn't nervous? Because I recently went on a date with a gentleman that, at first he was really quiet, and I was having to ask a lot of the questions. And once he got like some food and a beer, he started opening up more, and we are still talking. And, I asked him yesterday, I was like, were you nervous on our first date? And he's like, yeah, I was really nervous. Oh. So, is there any way that she's just kind of nervous and it's hard for her to open up?
It's so funny you mentioned that, because I actually was thinking about this, because she did mention that she doesn't date a lot and she's still fairly new into the dating scene. So yeah, a lot of it could be where she just doesn't have the skill set of dating, right? Just like the men don't know how to talk to a woman, approach a woman. Maybe it's the same with women too. So I got to think that as well.
Right.
So now I'm thinking, do I give her another shot? Do I give us another shot?
Was the chemistry there though? Like, were you attracted to her?
I'm very attracted to her. She's gorgeous on the inside and outside. Like I think that she's amazing, but I don't know. For some reason, I feel like there's something missing.
Could you ask her if she's nervous and how she's feeling? I mean, do you get the feeling that she wants to go on another date?
She did mention that. Yeah. She didn't say that she didn't want to go out. Like when I mentioned to her, like, I would love to see you again, she's like, I would love that too. So I guess maybe give it another shot. I don't know.
Just ask that question. Like ask her if she's being shy, or it probably doesn't help that she doesn't drink, so she doesn't have a little bit of her ambition coming down from a glass of wine, because that obviously helps during a date, right?
God, it does. It really does.
So maybe try something more fun, interactive, to get her to loosen up a little bit, and then maybe she'll let her guard down a little bit.
Yeah, she's got an eclectic schedule though. Because
if it's her schedule, those are so hard, especially with kids involved. So hard.
Like with you, like can you see yourself dating a guy who has fairly younger children and be like, okay, I will go ahead and mold around my schedule to make sure that we can be together on days that you don't have the kids? Like, are you comfortable with that?
It's difficult. It's not easy. Yeah. I don't typically date someone with younger children, but I've learned that if I shut that door too, it just makes it more difficult. So I have opened it up. So I have gone on a date with 2 men that have 5-year-olds. And I usually don't want to date anyone who has kids that aren't in middle school, or at least middle school. 5 years is a long, 5-year-olds. But then, I have friends who's opened that door. I have, I know someone else who's dating someone with 4 children under the age of 11. And that seems like a lot to take on, but they're in a happy relationship and they're loving it and it's working out for them. So I've decided, but if our schedules don't align at all, then it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because my schedule's set in stone with my kids. The only difference is my kids are a little bit older. So on a weekend I have my kids. They don't mind if I go out and have a glass of wine with a friend or something for a couple hours because they're teenagers and they're like, Mom, we've been with you all day. Like, get out of our hair. But, it's hard to date someone who our schedules are completely different.
Yeah, but can you meet a guy organically though in KC? Because there's a lot of activity going on anywhere you go. Like I've been to KC once. It's fun. It's a cool little city.
So there's a lot of fun stuff to do here. And I took about a year and a half off from dating apps. I had a lot of change happen in my life. New career, new house, new car, like everything in my life was turning upside down. So I took about a year and a half off from dating apps because they were a waste of time. Anyway, I've been going out a lot over the last 6 months and I have not met a single guy. And we do a lot. Like we go to Chiefs games, we had Oktoberfest. There's a big barbecue event that happens down here. And I don't know if it's because we're a group of men and women, friends or whatnot. So maybe that's more intimidating for a man to approach us. But there's been plenty of times that just me and the Casey girls go out and we just don't get approached. And so I finally was like, gosh, I've had some friends recently that have connected on Bumble. And so I broke down a couple weeks ago and decided to get back on.
So let's go back to that Kansas City barbecue, whatever it is. Like, let's say we're at an event, okay? And you're with your girlfriends and the guys too. Let's just say that's going to happen, right?
Sure.
And there's a group of guys and there's one guy that's happened to stare in your corner, right? And he's trying to get your attention.
Right.
Like, how would you want him to come and approach you? Like, how would you get his attention back besides just staring at him or like smiling at him?
So I'm pretty outgoing person, especially when I'm out and about. And so if I'm interested in someone, I do make quite a bit of eye contact. I will maybe walk by them a few times. I'm not one to usually make the full on first attempt, but I usually make it pretty obvious that I'm interested or at least want to. So I just would love it for someone to come up and introduce themselves or ask me to go get a drink or, I know that could be intimidating because when there's men in the group, they don't know if you're attached to one of them. So I don't know what the answer is to that. And I don't necessarily want to always leave our guy friends home because they do take very good care of us. They always make sure we have an Uber and, when you're out and about as a woman, they do protect us in a way.
Of course.
So I don't know what the answer is, but even when we're with our girlfriends, we never get approached, definitely when there's just 2 girls. And then
wait, so when there's 2 of your girlfriends, if there's 2 of your girlfriends and yourself, you're telling me that no man would ever want to approach you because there's 2 other women involved? So they think they're going to get cock-blocked?
I'm saying if it's just 2 women in general. So if I'm out with a girlfriend, a man never comes up and introduces himself to 2 of us. 3 of us, I think, is less intimidating, but still, it doesn't happen. It's usually taking us to let our guard down and to go intervene and to, see like a group of guys and us going up to them and like introducing ourselves or whatnot. So it's just different because again, you don't know who you're trying to mix with. So trying to meet someone in the wild has not been successful.
So are your friends, are they good with not cock blocking you? Are they going to like be respectful and see like if a guy, so let's just say if you're with 2 of your girlfriends and you're all like congregating around the bar or whatever the hell it is. Right. And this guy comes up to the 3 of you. Are those two friends going to be like, all right, this guy's talking to you, Merinda, so we're going to go ahead and leave you 2 alone? Or are they going to like eavesdrop and be like just totally like watching this guy, like giving them that evil eye look and like some girls do that?
No, like, my girlfriends, they're very lovely and they're very supportive and they know what the assignment is. So if a guy,
Oh, I
if
love
a
that
guy came
assignment.
up, huh?
I love that. The
Yeah,
assignment.
they know what the assignment is. So if one of us were to feel comfortable enough to go talk to someone or dance with someone, of course we're going to keep our eye on them to make sure that it's a safe situation.
Sure.
But no, they're very supportive, and everyone knows that the goal is, you know, to meet our partner and to find someone special. So they're not going to cock block in the sense unless they need to.
Unless they need to, yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah.
But see, I think maybe it would be good for these men, for them, and especially I want these men of KC to be listening. And I think everyone too, like, it's not that complicated to go talk to a woman. But again, I do know, myself included, we're always thinking, is she going to say no? Does she have a boyfriend? Is she a husband? Like, whatever it is.
Right.
We're always thinking like the negative aspects of it. And we're like, you know what? Forget it. Don't even bother. We'll just go back online and find a girl.
Right.
That's the cop out. And I feel like that should never be secondary. I feel like online dating should be tertiary. I really do believe that. I don't think that you should heavily rely and depend on online dating anymore. Because Bumble is just so flawed right now. I have no idea who the hell is real or not.
Right.
Like, I should show you some of these profile pics. I just laugh at them. I'm just like, are you kidding me?
The same thing. I mean, the things that we're seeing and the fake accounts, and then, you know, the ones that are like there's some profiles that a guy holding up a dead bull's head, like on his first profile pic. And you're like, out of all your photos, like that's the one that you want to be your first photo. And so the profiles are horrendous, but I just don't know what other options are there. You know,
do know that some of the pictures. So Bumble, I think Bumble and Hinge, if women happen to select on this picture, that becomes their primary picture. So I'm wondering if like now women happen to come across that picture and click on it, not out of you know, curiosity, but kind of like out of despair and like just disgust. So I think that's the reason why that picture happens to bounce around more often than the other.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Everyone's starting to tell me I need to date outside. I do like it when I meet someone on Bumble who's not from Kansas. Like they just moved here or they're just recently divorced because they haven't really been in the Kansas dating scene yet.
Ooh, why recently divorced?
Because they haven't been in the dating scene yet.
But that's,
No, I know. I haven't had any success. But I'm just saying, like, I would like tend to... once they hit the dating scene, and it's so small, that's the problem, is it's very small. So there's a really good chance that you and your girlfriends are going to be talking to the same guy at the same time. And so I have a girlfriend right now who's on Bumble. We joined together, actually. And so before we go on a date, like we're corresponding, making sure. And thankfully, like our ages are a little bit different. And so I don't think we're in the same dating pool. So we haven't reconnected, or we haven't connected with the same person yet.
That's happened to me.
It gets to be interesting for sure.
Oh, it does, for sure. It does. But let me ask you this though, is if you go out with a guy and first date, you're like, it was great, but there's no connection. You're okay with your friend going out with him?
100%.
Yeah.
I only have 2 men in Kansas that are off limits. For my friends.
For your friends, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's respectful.
Yeah. I mean, and, you know, and it's just because it was like, one's my ex-husband. You know, I don't want my girlfriends, you know, for obvious reasons. And then the other one is another guy that I had a relationship with. And I just told them that it would make me uncomfortable if you guys messed with him. But anybody else is off limits. Like, I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. Because the goal is to find somebody I have connection with. And just because I don't have connection with them doesn't mean you won't.
Yeah. And you want them to be happy. A lot of people
don't feel that way, though. There's a lot of people who, if they slept with someone or they went on a date with them, that they're off limits. And Kansas is too small to do that.
Is that off limits for you, though? Like, let's say if you slept with a guy and then he ghosted the shit out of you, something happened, you're like, well, fuck this guy. And then let's say like 6 months later, he resurfaces and your friend's like, oh, I'm going out with this guy. And like, oh shit, I went out with this guy too. Like, are you going to tell your friend, like, stay away from this guy because...
No, I probably would tell her what happened and say, but you know, maybe it's just because I wasn't the right one. I'm not normal though. Like I'm not.
Not normal.
Most
What does that
women
mean?
don't think the same way that I do. You know, I don't grow attachment. I mean, if he was rude and I didn't think she should be with him because he was dangerous or something like that, that would be different. But just
Yeah.
because he ghosted me, like I would just tell her, say, hey, just put your guard up, but go for it.
What do you mean by that though? You're not normal. Like, are you the type of woman that does not accept compliments? Like, if you break up with someone, you're done, you move on, and there's no regrets, no turning back.
No, I mean, I definitely have regrets. No, when I say I'm a very outspoken person, especially for a woman. And I don't think like everybody else. I also, even though Kansas is home to me, I don't call myself from Kansas. And so I don't think the same way that all people from Kansas think. I'm unique in the way that I put myself out there. I say what needs to be said. And a lot of times my friends are like, oh, you can't say that. I'm like, well, you can. You all were thinking it. Why can't it be said? So it's that type of thing.
Yeah. So you can. So if a guy ghosted you, wouldn't you just go ahead and tell him, like, hey, buddy, like, you and I went on a couple of dates, we had a good time, and all of a sudden you ghosted me. I think what you did was wrong. Like, are you going to be correcting these men, let them know what you did was bullshit?
So the guy that stood me up for the second Saturday in a row, yes, absolutely. I sent him a very appropriate message that my girlfriend helped me with. And we sent it at like 8:30 that night. And he, within 30 seconds, responded.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I do like to, for lack of a better term, have the last word. But it's not anything other than like, just do better. There's no reason for you to treat women the way that, and vice versa. There's no reason to treat a man that way either. It's so disrespectful. Now, if it's a guy that I went on one date with and he ghosts me, like, I'm not going to send him a message and make him feel bad about it. I'll just move on.
Yeah. What was his response, though, by the way?
It was long, but the gist of it was that his brother was in town and it was their birthday. He's a twin brother.
Okay.
And his friend was in town and his brother was in town and they were pissing him off and he was in a bad mood and he didn't want to involve me in that. He didn't want me to see him like that. And, my take on that was all you had to do was communicate that. Like I bought a new outfit. My friends were involved. We were all going to meet out. The fact that he completely just disregarded the evening was inappropriate. So I did feel like it was necessary for me to say something.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you going to use that new dress for someone else?
Of course, I already did. I wore it on my first date with this other guy that I'm talking to.
There we go. Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So another date, this was last week. I went on a date with this girl who happened to bring her friend. So I met up with the girl and her best friend, and we all got together and were just having some drinks and kind of getting to know each other. And I was like, this is actually great. Like, I'm glad that you invited me. Thanks for inviting me. And I'm really glad that I met your friend, because I think it's so important for the friends to make the decision on whether or not this person should move along with you or vice versa.
Oh, yeah.
So I was really impressed, and I asked the girl, I said, did your friend like me? Because again, I think it's important for you to know if your friends like you. And she's like, absolutely. She really thought you're amazing and a great guy. So I think maybe from now on, again, this is just my philosophy, but I think maybe from now on, the first dates, you should bring your friends with you.
Oh, on a first date. I don't know about that. Really?
Well, hear me out though. Hear me out. One, I think it brings the nerves down on both levels, because now there's a third party involved. And also, like, you're hanging out with your friend too. So if something bad happens, you're like, hey, there's an exit strategy right there. Buddy, it was great meeting you. I hope you had a good night, but yeah. And I think
that's what we used to do, like in college, right? Like we would all go to like fraternity party together, sorority parties together, like just hang out together. And then, if it went well, then you spent time together. If not, you guys all left. So
yeah,
I don't know how I would bring that up, but
I would say if you ever did this, I would just say, I just want you to know that I've gone on some dates and I just want to make sure that I'm in a safe environment. I'm not saying that you are not safe, but I want to be safe. And I think any man should be like, absolutely, 1000%. And if you
some
say,
men get offended by that though,
then they're not really men. They're just,
you're right. But they do get offended, because I mean, on Bumble, you don't get a last name. So like I try to get a last name before I go on a date with someone, and they're like, why are you going to do a background check? Well, yeah, probably, I mean, I'm putting myself in a very vulnerable situation, meeting someone out that I've never met before who could easily slip something in my drink while I run to the restroom. Like women are definitely very vulnerable on a first date, so it makes sense. Not to change the subject, but
no, you're good. Because
it's so hard to meet someone, if you're like at the liquor store, at Home Depot, or at somewhere, and you like eye connect with somebody and that you think you're attractive. But then it's like, how do you approach that situation? I mean, most men or women like at Walmart or Target are not going to approach someone and say, hey, can I have your number? But I've always kind of joked around with my girlfriends that I was going to make dating business cards. And like, kind of put like something on there, like picture, phone number, like da-da-da-da. If you want to hit me up, give me a call. I've never done it, but I always thought it would be a good idea because, like you're at Home Depot and you've like, I connected with this person, but like what happens? Like you both go to your car, you go on about your day, but you've got a missed opportunity where maybe something could happen.
Yeah, I like that idea. Instead of like stalking a girl and like running after her when she's like by her car and like, hey, excuse me, I saw you from afar and wanted to say hello.
Right.
But let me ask this though, going back to that, if you're at Home Depot checking out some paint and you happen to see a guy down the aisle, like, and again, I want men to be aware of this and hopefully they can kind of just gauge on this and see if there's a beautiful woman in front of me smiling at me, make a conversation with her. But like, how would you want him to approach you?
But see, wouldn't that be nice if you had like a dating card and you could just pull it out and be like, hey, I think you're absolutely beautiful. If you're single and you're interested, give me a text. And then you just walk away and there's no like hard feelings because he's going to leave. And he's probably not going to remember, like an hour late. He might remember, but you know what I mean? Like he's not going to feel let down if she doesn't text because she's either married or she wasn't attracted to him or whatnot. But there's not like that whole rejection, but so I don't know. I think this could be like a fun thing and same thing for a woman. Like maybe it's, you give a guy a card and you're like, hey, if you're single, like give me a text or hit me up or something. I don't know. I think it would be fun.
Scan my QR code.
Different what?
Like scan my QR code if you're interested,
Right. Yeah. And then you could like get onto, I don't know if you could link it to your dating profile somehow, but there would be something like name, number, whatever you feel comfortable putting out there, Instagram, Facebook.
Do you remember
hopefully
that show?
Hopefully not Snapchat.
I don't even know how to use Snapchat, by the way.
TikTok,
Do you remember that show with Ashton Kutcher where they would be like all mic'd up and there's like video cameras around and like they would like do like punked? Yeah, it was
right.
punked,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What if we did something like that, but it was with dating? Like we get like 2 guys and like 4 girls who never met each other and they're like at this department store. We'll say like Home Depot, for example.
Right.
It's a guy's job to go and talk to any of these women. And like, if they don't know how to say it, like we would kind of like be like devils in their ears and
tell
just,
them
like,
what to say.
Something. Exactly.
That'd be hilarious. Yeah. I would love it. I wish they would do more things like that for the older generation. Not that I want to call myself the older generation, but they don't do dating shows for 40-year-olds. They do dating shows for 25-year-olds. But
that's fucked up.
I know, but that's where I think there's in this 40 to 60 range. There's so many people that are single, and we're so lost. Like as a generation, we're so lost. So it would be fun to do something for that.
Yeah. Why do I feel like people in their 40s and early 50s, of all the age groups, we happen to be the most immature of all when you think about that, right? The whole fact that we are constantly talking about the person who ghosted them, the person who cheated on them, the person who abused them, the person who didn't call them back. We are in our 40s and 50s. We have mid-careers. We're successful. we have kids, and you're telling me that we don't have just the temerity to like contact one person and just say, sorry, like I'm not interested. Isn't it the most mind-boggling thing when you think about that?
Right. No, it is. It like blows my mind. I mean, even on friendship levels, right? Like when someone upsets you, people avoid you instead of saying, hey, I didn't really like it when you said this. Can we work it out?
Yeah.
Like people hide behind their phones these days. And, you know, even like with me being on TikTok as much, like I have so many, you know, so many followers, but so many people who want to hit me up or take me out or do things, but they don't have a picture on their profile and they don't have a single video up. You know, it's like, guys, I get it. Like, sure, but I don't know who you are. I don't know what you look like. And obviously dating, it comes to attraction. Like there has to be physical, emotional, mental attraction for there to be a successful relationship, right?
But that's scary though. Like, how do you, because again, I get that in your 20s, you ghost, you're immature. So no one gives a shit about the 20-year-old.
Right.
The 30-year-olds, that's when you start to, you know, your brain starts to get a little bit bigger emotionally. So you start to negate the people that you don't want to be around. And then in your 40s and 50s, you should know exactly what the hell you want and especially what you don't want.
Right.
But that maturity factor should have already matured by now, but it hasn't. So what the hell? Like, how do we fix this? How do we fix this problem before it starts to get even crazier?
I don't know the answer to that. I think the reason is because when we dated, it wasn't this hard. You know, like your dating pool was your college, your high school, you know, maybe your church. That was your dating pool. Now it's as far as you're willing to drive and whatever app you're on and whatever, you know, social media platform you participate in. And so it's like it's so open, you know, like look at us. I mean, you're in California, I'm in Kansas. We connected on TikTok. And so, and then we don't know what we're doing. And before, like we were told, you know, get married, get the white picket fence, 2.5 kids, the one dog, and live happily ever after. And then now you don't live happily ever after. And it's like, oh shit, what do we do? You know, like what do we do? How do we do this? So we don't know how to date in this environment. You know, my kids are going to know how to date in this environment because this is what they've been raised with. But this is new to us.
Yeah. Well, I hope to God it doesn't come down to that for our children to be on dating apps. Because if dating apps is your go-to to meet people, then what the hell are you doing at school? What the hell are you doing at work? Talking to people, like what? You're telling me that the days of saying hello to people are over? If that's the case?
No, I hope not.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying in general. Yeah.
Right. I really hope not. But like I just said, you know, people are not meeting at Home Depot or at, you know, I tried the gym. I've tried work. Didn't work. You know, those are probably two places that you shouldn't tap into. But it's like, if I'm not going to date someone at the gym at work, like it's what I do, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
I think we should make the dating cards a thing.
I think we should. Let's definitely get onto that.
Let's do the dating cards.
Here's what I don't want. I don't want to be like going down the street and like going to the shopping mall and see like all my business cards all on the ground here. Like, fuck. Kidding me?
Well, wait, how many business cards are you passing out? I mean, let's be a little bit selective on who we're passing them out to, right?
Well, very, very true. So these have got to be like really nicely done cards. That way you know exactly not to give them around to everyone.
That's true.
Yeah.
I know it could be a nightmare too, because then your guy friend can like give it to like 5 of his guy friends and then you're getting hit up by all these different men. I'm sure it could be a shit show, but you know, I don't know, but so are the dating apps. So is dating someone in the wild, right? So it's like, we got to try something new. Got to try something different.
We do.
I don't know. I've been talking about it for a long time.
So I like that. I think I would happily invest with you on that one. We should definitely do that.
I mean, all you have to do is go on a Vistaprint and make something. It's not
That's true. It doesn't take a lot of...
Yeah, it's not like I'm going to profit off of this. It's just an idea that I thought would be a good idea. Maybe I should do that and make my TikToks off of that, you know, like...
I like your idea. I tell you what, I'm gonna see your business cards. I'm gonna raise you an experimental challenge.
Okay.
I am down to do that. I will take the challenge right now.
So you're gonna do it. If you do it, I'll do it. And we'll see how it's doing. Now, I am, pinky promise.
Now, I am curious to know, because I don't know, obviously we didn't meet on a dating profile, but I am curious to know, like, what is your type? Like, what is it that, like, you truly, truly, like need in the man?
Unfortunately, I hate to be the girl, but I do need to be physically attracted to someone.
Of course, right?
But I can grow attraction with someone, but I find that hard to do on a dating app because, like you said, you show up to a first date, it feels like an interview, and if there's not like that initial, attraction. But I need someone who is, a good person, someone who can plan. I'm a planner, so I need someone who's also a planner.
Okay.
And I don't mean like huge planner, but like if we have plans for Saturday night, I would like to know what time we're meeting on Saturday night, before Saturday, just so that I can plan my day. What I really need is someone who can communicate well. I tell people honestly that if there was a communication love language, that would be my number one. Physical attraction is really important to me.
5'10" and above, right?
5'10" and above. Yeah. I do want someone who's like career oriented and who's, has a good relationship with their family.
But like for you, like tell me, like for me, I know that there's one thing that I want a girl to give, and that's like reciprocity, right? But if there happens to be something like in a man's personality that you really, really need, like what is that thing?
I just need someone who's going to put in the effort.
Yeah.
Whether that's for me. And honestly, I haven't even thought about what that looks like for my kids.
Sure.
Obviously, I'd love for someone to make my kids a priority. I do live on the hill that my kids are not dating. I'm the one that's dating. So they have never met anybody since I've been dating since my divorce. And it's because I haven't met someone who's special enough for them to meet.
Of course.
I'm hoping that happens, obviously. But I need someone who's willing to put in the effort, communicate, consistency, and who appreciates, because I'm that person that you're talking about. So I dated a guy, about 2 years ago that he just moved into a house. He didn't have a Christmas tree. He didn't have any decorations. And he had said, like, I don't even know what I'm doing with kids. So I went and bought a Christmas tree, decorations, all the things, and like took it to his house so that when his kids got there, they had a Christmas tree to put together. Now, it wasn't a 7-foot Christmas tree. It was like a 4-foot Christmas tree. But still, it was enough effort where it ended up scaring him, and we're obviously not together. But I'm that person that puts in that effort. I've never thought about like what would happen if someone put in the same effort for me. I'm always thinking about what can I do for them.
I'm sure you'd appreciate that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Just making that extra effort to like remember the special things that are going into their life.
Of course.
Like that would mean a lot to me. I just want them to acknowledge them and how important they are in my life and how they are number one.
Well, I think that in the beginning, you want them to acknowledge you, make sure that you're comfortable, and then outside the shell, then go ahead and involve the kids.
Yeah. I think I need someone who is patient and understanding. My oldest is a junior, and I'm already going through all the mommy feelings of what that looks like. And like, I'm a mother before I'm anything else. So like realizing that, in a year and a half, she'll be an adult and she'll be living her best life and doing her own things. So I want someone who understands that my kids are my priority. But when I meet someone special, like I don't care how busy I am, like I am all in. Like it won't matter how much time I'm working or what I have going on in my kids' lives. Like I'm also there for them 100%. But my kids obviously always come first until I meet that special person and we decide to make that next step. That will look different. But right now in the life stage that I'm in, like my kids are number one and I need someone to understand that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what's the nickname that you would want your man to call you?
Nickname?
Yeah.
Gosh, baby girl is very sexy. I think.
Girl. Okay.
Baby girl.
I like that. Baby
girl.
Girl.
Baby girl is pretty sexy. Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
I mean, I like all nicknames. Not all, but like I wouldn't like old lady. right? Like that was a thing in the South. Like my old lady, like that's not sexy.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah. How about you? What do you like to be called?
Like sugar daddy, you know. No, I'm just kidding. I would like to be called Babe. I like Babe. Babe is actually it's I don't know, something about it. It's
I
really
say
original.
babe a lot, but I also say boo. Like I like just calling someone my boo.
Yeah. I, don't know if
I
I'd like to be
also
called
want,
Babe.
I mean, obviously in this stage of the game, like whoever I'm with has been called a lot of things. So I usually will ask, like, what's something you haven't been called? Like, I want something unique and different.
Just don't call me asshole.
Right. Right.
Guys, obviously you've heard her story, and I'm looking right at her, but she's amazing. An amazing woman here. Make reservations. Make reservations on the first date. Put some effort into it. Be successful. All right, be successful, and you don't have to make millions, but just have a successful career.
Right.
But if you have small children, sorry, bets are off. Be tall, please. Be taller than 5'10". Be a planner. Communicate. Just like real estate, guys. Just communicate with her well, and I tell you, it's going to pay off. Put in the effort. No stalkers, most importantly, please.
Yeah, no stalkers, please.
Yes. And if you happen to call her baby girl, then go gold. And most importantly, if you are a Chiefs fan, then you even struck even more gold.
Yes,
right?
That's actually kind of important. You don't have to be a Chiefs fan, but you do have to love to watch football. I'm just saying, I do love to watch football. It's a big part of my life during this time of year.
Guys, not many women can say that, by the way. I mean, you're looking at the most perfect woman here, by the way. So, wow.
But I love sports. Like, it's just something that I've always loved doing and enjoy doing. And I would think it's attractive, but maybe it's not. I don't know. But yeah, I'm a big sports fan.
That's very attractive. Yeah, absolutely. You kidding me? Especially, you like UFC too?
I will watch like anything that's big, anything that's exciting. It's not something I watch by myself, like on a Saturday night or anything like that. But any big fight, any big game, like I'm on. Let's go.
Well, right on. Look at that, guys. I mean, she just said it right there. So there's really no need for reiteration. But yeah, I don't think, and I hope that you don't ever plan any Saturdays alone, because again, I'm seeing an amazing person in front of me, and I'm not just saying
thank you. I really
just met you. I feel like you're a deep friend of mine now, so I appreciate you.
Thank you. I love that.
Oh, well, good. But let me let's close this out here real quick. Here, I always ask my signature question here.
Okay.
If there happens to be a song that helps you soothe or groove or move on your good or bad days, tell us what's the name of that song.
Song? Oh my gosh, I'm so bad with songs.
You can say songs plural.
Oh God, you really put me on the spot. I love R&B. I will tell you that I just saw Boyz II Men in concert for the first time like 3 months ago with my oldest, and we had so much fun. So it was a blast. If you ever get a chance to see them, you should totally do it.
I would love to see them. I haven't seen them in a long time. I remember
they're so much fun. So much fun.
What was your favorite song?
Oh my gosh, that's why I'm like so bad with names. I can't I can't think of anything right now.
On Bended Knee. On Bended Knee.
What's their most like their favorite song? Like
let's keep doing that.
Oh my God, I'm like drawing a blank. You should have told me this before.
I should have. I love to stump my my guest here.
Yeah.
Who's named that song?
Oh my! It's like on the tip of my tongue though. It's like right there. Say goodbye. Something like so hard to say goodbye. Right? Isn't that it?
I think it is. Yeah.
It's so hard to say goodbye. Yeah, that song. Oh yeah, I loved it. I thought it was fun. Yeah. And I really appreciate you reaching out to me and doing this. I had so much fun.